I know you like watching horror movies and reading horror stories, but this one is different. This one, from yours truly, Professor Horror, is about ghosts who take revenge on their killers. Of the ghosts of these victims who took their revenge in most sensational ways. There is the Dharavi police station in Mumbai. And you may have heard that Dharavi is the site of the biggest slums in the world. There is a story of a murder victim visiting the police station at Dharavi 7 months after his murder, and not only filing an FIR, which the local police call a first information report of a crime being committed. It's a ghost that comes there and tells the police to go to a certain place where a body would be found. There is no such case anywhere in the world where such a story exists of a man who comes as a ghost to a police station and tells the policeman to write down the first report to investigate and telling them where his own body is to be found. This is the story of Chandrapa Nair. Chandrapa Nair, who got his own murderer apprehended and arrested. Let me tell you the story. It's most unusual. I'm still looking for something in a different place. But this happened. Started in Arthur Road, which is a well-known prison in Mumbai. And it happened at the start of the 70s. On July 5th, 1970, in fact, this well-known place harboring die-hard criminals was shattered by the sound of a prisoner at 10:30 at night. Prisoner Subaya screaming and pleading, "No, please, please, leave me alone, leave me alone! Please forgive me! I'm sorry, leave me alone!" Many constables came running. They found Subaya rolling on the ground, rolling and rolling this way and that, his body shaking as someone was badly thrashing him, and he's turning his face this way and that way to avoid the hits. When he saw the constable, Subaya shouted, "Please save me! This ghost of Chandrapa is going to kill me! Please save me!" The other prisoners in the ward were standing close to the walls, trying to strain to get a catch of this extremely frightened-looking man, helpless and screaming on the ground. Subaya had been taken into custody on the 6th of April in 1970. The records show, the police records and the court records show, there was a recovery of a skeleton with the charge sheet. The forensic experts examined the skeleton, came to the conclusion that it belonged to a 32-year-old Chandrapa who had been missing from his home since the 2nd of September in 1969. And this was corroborated by his wife, whose name was Malti. There was a police sub-inspector, Arun Kot, who told the court that the ghost of the deceased Chandrapa Nair came to the police station at Dharavi on the evening of the 27th of March 1970 and lodged the FIR. The court actually recorded the FIR report and took it into cognizance as having been actually delivered at the Dharavi police station, where the deceased gave all the details of his murder and also told the place where his body would be found and also named the murderer. And this is an excerpt. That day, says the sub-inspector, I saw a young man of 32 or 33 years of age entering the police station I had some conversation, and he said he was Chandrapa, and he started smiling. He said his soul had been wandering about till this time, and today, he said, I have come to file the report of my murder. A ghost coming to file a police report on his own murder so that his assailant could be apprehended and brought to trial. The sub-inspector continues. He told me that his friend Subbayya Nair came to meet him around 2 p.m. in the afternoon at Sitaram Mills where both of them worked. The day was the 2nd of September 1969. He asked Subbayya, his friend, to have a meal. And Subbayya took him to Bandra station for some urgent talk. And then they went by taxi to Jasmine Mills on Dharavi Road. Subbayya had a wine shop at that place, and there they drank till 1 at night. When Chandrapa was highly intoxicated, Subbayya took out a knife and declared that Chandrapa's game was up. He would not leave him alive. When he stabbed him several times in the chest and stomach, and Chandrapa died. Subbayya then dropped the body in the pipeline in front of gate number 1 of Jasmine Mills, and still lying there in a decomposed condition, said the murdered man. The judicial magistrate who got these details was dumbfounded, and when Sub-Inspector Court went to the place near Jasmine Mills with witnesses, he found the skeleton and bits and pieces of the remnants in a tank in the pipeline. The right foot of the skeleton had been washed away by a current of water. The matter went to the forensic laboratory of the Maharashtra police of the great state of Maharashtra and the western side of India. They superimposed the photo of the skull on the photo of the deceased and found that the skull indeed belonged to the dead man. And the report said that the deceased should be between the age of 30 and 35. 2 teeth that were missing from the lower right jaw. The bone of his left leg was fractured and had been joined only recently. The widow Malti testified about the missing teeth and the bone on the left leg getting fractured. Chandrapa was a drunkard, and Subbayya, who ran a country liquor shop, came to a house in Santosh Saran where Chandrapa lived. And unfortunately, because of Chandrapa's condition, Subbayya would regularly visit, and there were illicit relationships between the deceased wife Malti and Subbayya. When Chandrapa came to know of it and he returned to his house one night, the two developed animosity, vowing to take revenge. Chandrapa forgave his wife, and she also swore to give up any relations that was not legal in their marital relationship. But the relations continued in a clandestine way because they were deeply enamored and planned to run away and live together. Because Malti was disgusted by this drunkard Chandrapa and had more trust in Subbayya, who ran a wine shop. The residents of the locality told Chandrapa about what was going on, and Chandrapa went to Subbayya's wine shop with his friend and gave him a thorough beating. Chandrapa's shop was not legal. He would sell wine that was what we call hooch, that was homemade, that was even dangerous. And that gave him connections with the underworld. So Subbayya asked for Chandra's forgiveness, saying that he was genuinely sorry for his behavior and would end it. But that was only to dupe Chandrapa and get him to his wine shop. He got Chandrapa totally drunk, killed him, threw the body in the tank of Jasmine Mills pipeline, and from there it was recovered by the police. Subaya thought his underworld connections would help him, but he was taken into custody on the 27th of March in 1970. Based on the recovery of the skeleton and the forensic reports, he finally confessed to his crime with the usual pressure from the police and confirmed what they already knew. He was sent to Arthur Road Prison back on April 29th. There he was attacked by the ghost of Chandrapa. He was removed to hospital, injured by his own movements against furniture, and he related his story to the doctors, shivering in fright. There were strange marks of nail scratches all over his body. Again he was attacked on the 13th of July. There were now wounds on the back of his head where he had fallen to the floor, but it seemed as though he had been attacked by an iron rod. And then 10 days after this incident, on the 23rd of July 1970, Subaya was found dead in his cell. Blood was oozing out of his mouth and nose. His eyes were wide in fright and his heart had stopped working. Chandrapa's ghost had finally taken revenge on his murderer. There you have it, a real life case study written out in the court of Maharashtra government and the police people at Dharavi police station and the inmates who saw all this at the Arthur Road prison. Maybe you have come across a story, but for me it was the first time. If I am open to listening to any evidence of any such stories, and I put them in my collection and I share them with my listeners. If you want to hear more like this, you will have to subscribe. So you can do that now. Subscribe to still more real stories of horror and fright.